I think so. No. I wonder what my Yoruba language teacher is today. If the person, let me see. 30 years ago, I finished high school 30 years ago last month. So, and took working on high school. I'm sure they're still alive somewhere. They're probably wondering, like, what in God's name is she? Like, little girl, you call in school. What then you by A3 in Yoruba language? Wala tini. Teba like it. Go argue with God. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Say hello when you come on. Hello, Miss Mazella. How are you? Hello, Eleanor Sanctuary. What's going on? How my baby's doing? Good evening. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Wally Method. Good evening. How are you? Hello, Mr. Tywos. Tywos. Why is it Tywos? Oh, talking of Tywos, I just remembered something. I haven't heard back from this guy. Oh yeah, I haven't heard back from him. I told you. Okay, we get questions later on. But I see that we're going to talk about our cousins and our wives. Yeah, I have to change my friends and family because they don't share anything with me. Because it looks like about packing their bags to come to. No, hell to the no. Mm-mm. I love them from afar. Like I love them. Just like I told my, because I went to see my mom over the weekend. Well, TJ went to see his cousins and grandma. So let's just say that I was the you know plus one for TJ, even though I paid. But I was talking. No, I was telling my sister in love. I love my niece and nephews from afar. I love them, but it's going to be from afar. Don't send nobody to my house. So Miss in the Sanctuary, keep your um keep the babies. I love them from afar. My baby's 13 and a half. It's going to be 14 next month. That's the kind of baby that I deal with. I've paid my dues, been there, done that. My oldest kid is almost 20. Not doing it. Keep your baby. I love you. I love your babies, but keep them. Don't send anyone to my house. Oh, my yarini. No, who's anybody's baby? Yes. You can see how serious I got. Yeah, I love my niece and nephews and all, but no, keep your babies in your home. Yeah, don't even get me started. Not doing it. But anyway, hi everyone. Um, Another diaper. Don't even know what a diaper looks like. Can you diaper? There's some things that just traumatized you so much that if you see it, your brain's probably going to explode. Diaper is one of those. It's like I can't. Y'all don't understand. People in Nigeria, y'all are having kids. You are in heaven because you can get a nanny per child. The United States is different. Y'all have kids, and especially for someone like me that moved away from family, because my whole family lives in Massachusetts. I got married and moved to Chicago, and so basically, and then moved to down south, and then basically raised my kids myself without the help of family. So my experience is different, and so it was traumatizing. How Miss Abena said, keep your kids, keep them. Don't send nobody to my house. If you send your baby to my house, I'll see them at my door and just lock my door. I just dear family service. Listen, you think I'm kidding? Hi, Miss Abena. Anyway, if you're just joining us for the first time, this is, as Miss in the Sanctuary would say, this is the most positive platform in social media space or something along those lines. Welcome. We talk about all things immigration. We celebrate with one another and encourage one another and pray for one another because we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? It's it's sometimes just you do what you can as a human and you leave the rest in God's hands because you just never know what the battles they're going to fight. But one thing we know is that if we leave the battles to Him, we can never lose. So we talk about, all things immigration. We encourage one another, we pray for one another, and even when things don't go our way, we still, give it all to God because He knows best. And so, welcome. Let us know where you're joining us from. We have people joining us from all over the United States as well as out on other countries. So I really do appreciate that. Humbled by that each and every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every other time zone, I don't know. Um, but this is Attorney Abisola Adebola Olale. I am an immigration attorney. My office is located in Alabama, but I represent immigration clients in all 50 states. So it doesn't matter what state you live in, we can represent you as long as it's a case staff that we handle. Talking of celebrating, we are celebrating with Miss B and Miss O today. One Vawa case, one regular marriage case, got their green cards delivered today. As Miss B's case, we filed in January. So her case was exactly 6 months, literally received January 9th, approved July 9th. That is no coincidence. There's no coincidence with God. That is just God in doing what He knows how to do best. No interview. And Miss O, on the other hand, started the journey since 2017, 7 years ago, with a regular case. It had to switch to a VAR case, and those both stories just really are a testament to God's faithfulness and His mercy. So if it's still the same God who did it for them, it's the same God who's going to do yours if you're waiting. And when you're waiting, hello, Finance Sandy. So we shall not wait in vain. Our expectations shall not be cut off, but we also all have to understand that our destinies and timings are not the same. So may God give us the patience to wait until that appointed time for each and every one of us. But anyway, follow us, like, share, subscribe at Olale Immigration, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Hi, TikTok family. And if you're joining us for the first time again, if you have questions, I give general responses to questions. If you have any specific matter to discuss, we do that over a paid consultation. And if you go to our website, olalealawfirm.com, you'll be able to find that information easily. So let's talk immigration. Yes. So first things first, yesterday was the announcement of the effective date for parole in place program. Majority of people here would not qualify. And it's saying, when I say people here, in the sense of our own platform here, those of the group of immigrants that I cater to, most of us come in with legal documentation. And so basically you're coming through the border, and you're inspected, or primarily coming through flying into one of the states, and you have a visa stamp. So once you come in legally, this parole in place program does not apply to you. Even for those who came in without inspection, meaning you cross the border, one of the requirements is you've got to be in the United States for at least 10 years and married to a U.S. citizen as of June 17, 2024. A lot of people come in with their families. So majority of my clients may not qualify, but if you think you're going to be eligible, August 19, I have some clients, because I cater to a group of immigrants that I know that majority of them came in without inspection. And so if you fall within that, an American U.S. citizen, that application process is going to start. Well, USCIS will start accepting applications unless something changes between now and then. They'll start accepting applications beginning a month from Friday. So August 19, 2024 for parole in place. That allows people who qualify to so basically parole in place. The whole point is you're given admission or parole right where you are. That's that. Another way to describe it or explain it is, rather than have to gain the admission into the country, it's brought to you. I've heard people say it's like, that's not fair. I know. But so you're giving the parole in place where you are. That allows them the effect is as if they came in legally and now can also travel and come back in now with a legal entry. as well as apply for, become eligible to apply for work authorization. So if you think you fall within that category of people, that's fine. We can have a consultation, but the application process does not start until August 19. So, and to money, ever president apply, I'll first submit paperwork. No, don't listen. USCIS will reject anything that is going to be filed between now before August 19. Keeping in mind that anything can still change. We are right, in the middle of conventions and for elections and all that good stuff. So there's a whole lot to come the next 4 or 5 months, 6 months before the next administration takes over. So once again, if you are a citizen, do not just sit your butt home and say, hey, someone has to vote. You got to vote. I just mailed in my oldest kid. I said he's 19 and a half. I've just mailed in his voters registration form in our states, because the government says an adult, like you can vote at 18, right? And when you're adults, okay, let's do adult things. So we're going together to go vote. This is going to be his first presidential election to vote in. So I'm taking my son. We're going to cast our votes and do what we can do on our part. So do the same, please, because every administration has an effect, has an impact on immigration, whether we like it or not. So let's do our part so that we can also support other immigrants that are coming up. So that's that in a nutshell. What are we talking about tonight? Real quick, we're going to talk about VAWA case is delayed. Why? So your VAWA case is delayed. Why is it delayed? Let's start with the most obvious. So if you've got a VAWA case pending and you're wondering, okay, was if I can like 500 years ago, it's not that. It's just that there's so much. Hello, Mr. Kelvin. Someone said, why is it that you always smell? You always have a big smell for certain people. It's not being biased. They're just some people that I have come to know through this work, through representing them, that we develop a special kind of relationship. I'm talking of, being like Miss Eleanor Sanctuary, Finest Shandy. Like I don't mix business with pleasure. They will tell you, like everyone is treated the same way when it comes to my business. That's just where I don't ever make any concession for anyone, because that's just the way I function. I'm the same and equal on all bases. But there's some people that you just represent and they become family. That's Mr. Kelvin, because he stressed me. He stressed me because Mr. Kelvin, gray hair. I'm doing tonight. But he is one of the having represented him, worked his journey with him for 2+ years. One of the kindest, straightforward people you will meet, and just very, very open. And I'm praying that you meet, God gives you that woman that's going to really be a life partner, because you deserve that. So everybody's sending applications because he's a citizen. Don't send him because he's a citizen. Send him because you want to meet him and really love on him. So, because he's been through enough. But anyway, so VAWA case is delayed. Why? Oh, Mr. Bina, if anyone is on this platform and they've never heard me talk about Mr. Bina, then they're sleeping. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Epic Movement is another. I'm sorry, but Mr. Bina and Liza and the Sanctuary Finest Shandy. Yeah, I'm so I feel so bad right now. Oh Lord Jesus. But you already know that was really genuinely just went over my head. But anyway, VAWA case is delayed. Why is your VAWA case delayed? Let's talk about reasons why your VAWA case may be delayed. Not necessarily saying, I love this from me. I'm not necessarily saying that that's what's going on in your case. But if any of these factors are applied to you, then that may be the reason why your case may be delayed. Let's start with the most obvious, which is USCIS themselves. Oh, Ghanaian and Nigerian. Yeah, we love our Mr. Bina all day, every day. We don't love her jollof rice. We're never going to entertain or honor invitation to come and eat one, but any other thing we do. And Mr. Ben is actually one of the most soft-spoken. I've got the best kind of clients. Now, sometimes I deal with crazies. It's part of the game, but if we go and we match each other, that's crazy. Let's start with USCIS, their own processing time as a claim. So USCIS has an average time that they would process each type of case or each type of petition. When it comes to VAWA petitions, USCIS is way backlogged. So how do you know what is the processing time and how long it's taking them to adjudicate VAWA cases? Okay, if you are on Instagram or TikTok, you probably want to go on Facebook or YouTube so I can show you. It's very straightforward. You can always watch the video on Facebook on YouTube later on. But let's see, present, share screen. I'm processing time. That's what I'm looking for. So if you're on Facebook and YouTube, let me know if you're able to see my screen. I know I've done this before, but sometimes we just have to do it again. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Somebody let me know on YouTube and Facebook. Can you see my screen? Shall I read everything clearly and all that? Let me know. So yes, no, perfect. Thank you. If you go on, so this I'm on the USCIS website. Where it says, if you go on uscis.gov/processing times, it takes you to this page. Choose your form. So we're talking this evening about I-360, and we're talking on that because I-360 is not just for violence, for other things as well. Violence against women, that's a subcategory. And it would, you can only select all service centers because now they're kind of like having this, what is this thing called? Humanitarian units separately to deal with VAWA cases. And now they're also going to be having immigration officers adjudicating VAWA cases at the Nebraska Service Center, not necessarily having to transfer over to the government. So there's a whole lot of changes going on with USCIS. But anyway, so this is the category you select, the subcategory you select when it comes to Violence Against Women Act. Get processing time. Don't be alarmed, y'all. Shall I rescreen? Don't be alarmed. So as of July 18, 2024, USCIS is taking about 40 months, 40. So that is about 3.5 years, just a little under 3.5 years to process VAWA petitions. And just to we are clear, this is just for the I-360 petition. This does not take into consideration the I-485 application, which is a green card application. Green card application does not get processed until the I-360 petition has been adjudicated, hopefully approved, before they get to that. So the 40 months applies to the I-360 petition by itself. So that's number one. If you're wondering why is your VAWA case delayed, start from the beginning, from the people that are adjudicating your case, which is USCIS. From the time they get your VAWA case, get ready that you're going to be spending at least 3 years before you have a decision on your case. Within that 3-year frame, some plus or minus 6 months, right? Some people can get RFEs within 2 years. Some people can get RFEs after 3 years. I've had a VAWA case approved in 5 months. I've had another one approved in 9 months, another in 18 months, another in 2 years. Some have been expedited. Some they transfer priority date, which by law they should do, but it's all over. But so you know that the starting point is how long is USCIS actually taking to process a VAWA petition, and there you have it, 40 months. And if you go down If you go down, there is where it says when is your receipt date, so you know when to contact them and to claim that your case is not outside normal processing time. So that is number one. So let's go back to, so you can always go and see this. Like I said, okay, so that's number one reason. What other reason? Well, what other factors make your VAWA case to be delayed? Another factor is if USCI sends you an RFE and you do not respond on time or you do not receive it, so that delays your case. I've had people come consult with me where they just get a denial in their case, and it's based on USCI's claiming that they sent them a request for evidence and it was never responded to. They sent them a notice of intent to deny that they never responded to, and then when they come to me, we're like, okay, we didn't receive it. We file a motion to reopen. Service request to reopen, depending on what the appropriate relief application relief would be, or what proper step to take would be in that situation. So if you get an RFE or notice of intent to deny that they said they had sent to you, was never responded to, and you've got to now reopen your case, obviously that's going to be a factor that's going to delay your case, because you have to go through reopening the case, then getting it back into your active system, now going to get the RFE itself or the NOID itself, and then responding to that. So that's another factor. Okay, another factor that USCI always claims, or one of the excuses, is we're conducting background checks, or security background checks, or whatever the case, however they wanted to phrase it. That's what they claim they're doing. So your background checks, that's usually like their catch-all phrase, right? They would just say, Anika will be you need to look or something, because it's always a safe default for them, especially when they know that they it's more than the normal processing time. So say for instance, you see that it's 40 months. If you filed your case sometime in 2018 or 2009 or even 2020, let's assume June 2020, that's going to be 49 months, way past the processing time, right? If you check, and I have a client like that I took over his case, I think his case was filed in 2018. I'll get to the reason why his case may be delayed. But if you check that, they may, and you have congressional assistance request done or ombudsman inquiry, they come back and tell them, oh, we're just conducting, security background checks. That's usually some, BS reason that they give, which is always like, you already know they have no reason, genuine reason. And once you've done that, and once they give that reason, you've done ombudsman inquiry, you've done congressional assistance request, the next stage you really have no choice is to file a lawsuit against them. So that's another factor that USCI's claims, or that's another factor that may delay the processing of your VAWA case. So starting with the processing time that is, given by USCIs themselves. Another factor we talked about is if you have an RFE NOID that has not been responded to, or your case is denied because you didn't respond to it and you have to reopen, if they're conducting security background checks. And the last factor that I've seen, and this is things that I've just seen based on my practice, is depending on who prepared your case. This is about probably the most important part of it, besides the USCI's processing time, and I'll tell you why. The best step you can take when it comes to your immigration process is making sure that you verify whether the person that you are going to be hiring on your case is actually a lawyer. Because, listen, I cannot do what doctors do. Like, I have no clue. If I have a headache or whatever, I can only go and get something over the counter. But if it gets intense, I gotta seek my primary care physician, or sometimes I call my ex-husband, like, hey, this is what's going on. What do you have to give? Just say, why not? I mean, I'm the mother of his children. At least I have to be alive, right? My point is, you have to know whether or not the person you are hiring to represent you, to prepare your case, is actually a lawyer. An immigration consultant is not an immigration attorney. Immigration paralegal is not an immigration attorney. Nothing against paralegals or whatever, but everybody has their own place. I cannot do what a doctor does, and I know I'm not a judge. I can't judge cases. I know what God has given me as my expertise. But even with that, we still have a lot of things to learn, even as legal practitioners. So if you give your case to someone who is not an attorney, or they pose to you as an attorney, and they don't, and those kind of people most of the time will not give you a copy of your file. Every single client that we have in my firm, every single client, once we get your case out, you will get a link to download the exact replica of your case file. Within 48 hours, you'll get a link. And you've got 7 days to now. There's someone like us, so they're more for me. Case we did. And that's why my main mode of communication is email, because then I can pull up the email that says, hey, download a copy of your file because the link is good for 7 days or it expires. You would always get a copy of what we send, even if it's a 1-page RFE. You will get a copy of what we send to USCIS because it's about your case, and you should know. Now, whether or not you now look at the file, that's on you. I can force you to look at your file, but that's just standard practice with many of my colleagues. A lot of people who are not lawyers would not do that. One thing that has now happened when it comes to specific, we're talking of delays in VAWA cases, I have had an uptick in this. There are certain people in New York and Maryland, to be precise, New York and Maryland, those two states, that paid people they thought were were actually attorneys to help them do VAWA cases. Turns out those two individuals that opened up legal law firms or legal consulting firms were actually not lawyers. Both of them actually have been convicted by the U.S. District Court, the U.S. government, for marriage fraud and marriage fraud, forgery. There's quite a bit of charges, and I have in the last 30 months, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. In the last 30 days, rather, I've had 4 of those consults, and I actually have 2 of those cases that I've taken over from one of those people. The last person actually was convicted back this April. He's going to be sentenced next month. So I've taken 2 cases. The first thing I do in those cases, and I tell my clients, I was like, hey, I cannot tell you if I'm going to take your case. I have to do a FOIA request. Depending on what we find in your file will determine whether it's a case I'm going to take. So what we're seeing is USCIS, those cases that those individuals or their offices actually processed are now became part of the investigation by the U.S. DHS attorney. And because it became part of the investigation by the U.S. attorney, U.S. DHS attorney, your case basically was put on pause because of the issues or the charges those people were facing. And so your case, if your case was part of those cases, for instance, one of them filed many VAWA cases for many immigrants, primarily people from Nigeria, from Ghana, West African countries, and included fraudulent lease agreements and fraudulent, and I would say allegedly, but that person has been convicted. So fraudulent lease agreements, fraudulent psychological evaluation using somebody else, and the clients did not know because they never got copies of their files. We did FOIA requests. We're able to get copies of the files. And when I'll review the FOIA records with you. I remember one lady, Miss F, when I was reviewing with her, she was like, I never even saw a psychologist. That's part of why your VAWA case may be delayed, because some of those cases, so many of those cases actually became part of the investigation. And because your case may have been part of an investigation, there is no way USCIS is going to move ahead to adjudicate your case. Some people actually got RFE, some got notice of intent to deny, but majority of people are not even seeing any progress in their case because those cases became part of the investigation. So some of you may know who the 2 people I'm talking about, but that probably it may be a big reason why your VAWA case is delayed. So if you're were represented by any of these two folks in Maryland or New York, and your case has been pending, 4, 5, 6 years, that's out of the norm. It's time for you to go consult with the lawyer to see if that's what's happening in your case. At the very least, do a FOIA request of your records directly to USCIS. Get a copy of your record so at least you know what was submitted on your behalf. Because obviously, we have a string of cases that had the same psychological evaluation, the same way, with that none of those people were seen by the psychologist. Those cases are being put on hold. They're going to be part of the sentencing. So just make sure that you are looking out for yourself, and you know what's, who you're going to be hiring to do your case. Do yourself a favor and make sure you're hiring an attorney, so at least you know where you can go and get information about your case. So if you're wondering why your VAWA case is delayed, those are some of the factors that are causing delay in VAWA cases. But number one, the number of the processing time by USCIS hopefully gets better. We just don't know. We're just going to have to wait to see. All right, people. That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Because it's something. All right, let's get to as many questions as we can. Let's see. Hello. Let's see. Let me start from the beginning. Hello, Mr. Tuola. How are you? John is watching from Pittsburgh. Thank you for joining, John. How are you? My sister wants to apply I-130 for her siblings in, is it Niger or Niger? Which one? Is it called Niger or Niger? Niger. Is it Niger or Niger? Currently, the city her siblings is not secured. Can she apply premium processing to make it faster so that her sister will come in the U.S. as soon as possible? Short answer, no. There's no premium processing for I-130. She's going to have to wait the number of years that siblings have to wait to get their I-130 immigrant visas approved. If someone already has a pending marriage-based case, disclaimer, general information, nothing specific to anyone's case, just no. It's just general information. That's all. If someone already has a pending marriage-based case, marriage-based green card application, and they want to switch it to VAWA, do they have to submit a new 485 and proof that USCIS and proof that spouse is a citizen green card holder? Qualifying relationship and the eligibility for the immigration classification sought, meaning are you married to a citizen or married to a green card holder? That's a requirement. Whether or not you need to submit a new I-485 depends on the number of factors. Where is your I-485? What stage is it at? Is it something where you can file an abeyance request with the field office for them to now convert to a VAWA case and put it on hold? Is it better for you to just start from scratch? The good thing about VAWA cases now is you're not paying filing fees for VAWA cases. So anything related to VAWA, you don't have to pay filing fees. You pay attorney fees, obviously. So that helps you to decide whether it's going to be better to just start afresh, or if you've been waiting for a work permit forever and you finally not get a work permit, then in that situation, if you cancel out the old one, you're going to have to cancel out the work permit. That means you're going to wait all over again. So it may be best to just transfer it to the VAWA case so that your work permit can be transferred alongside with that. Okay. What to do if I want a DV lottery visa and married to U.S. citizen? Now I got my work permit and getting way to get divorced to my spouse, but my work permit is on the way to come. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me. What should I do to get the green card? That's something you want to sit down with a lawyer for and talk about. You may be out of status. If you're here and you want to live with lottery, but you're out of status, then you don't have any basis to adjust your status, because you would be found inadmissible if you're married to a U.S. citizen, going through divorce. If your divorce is filed before your green card is approved, you can't. That will be an approval in error. So talk to a lawyer to figure out what your best option will be. My U.S. citizen man. Oh, mom, because you put money. I thought you meant man, like so calling you man. I mean, that's a new way to refer. You mean your U.S. citizen mom because you put MON as filing an I-130 for me. Can it include my child over 21 years old? No. I need a serious man. Okay, this person is actually talking about a man. I'm a single mother with 2 children. Godly person with good. Is that your word to tell Mr. Kelvin? I don't do matchmaking services, but there we go. Lady B on YouTube, Mr. Kelvin on Instagram. You never know. You never know. Para rin sigani this is why siya mo and Lady B and Kelvin siya mo okay I just fair out. You never know. Siya mabay siya waiting. I will go get ordained. Just lead to me. We will do it. But hey, Mr. Kelvin, there is a Lady B on YouTube that is a single mother with Lady B. I know Mr. Kelvin doesn't have kids and 1 kid. That much I know. Are you willing to have kids? Look at me do matchmaking. What can I do? Abby. Okay. On May 16, the post office returned a notice we sent you for your I-360 petition. Here is a message on. Can you still take my case as the person that filed for me didn't give me any papers? I don't ever take a case until I've done number 1, a consultation with you, and the consultation will determine whether I have to do a FOIA request of your records. Once we have a FOIA request of your records, those are separate services, so separate charges on their own. When I get your record is when I can decide whether it's a case I'm taking. I don't ever fly blindly, especially when you started. And especially when the person who helped you was not a lawyer. So I can tell you whether I'm going to eat something. That's my procedure to take over a case. Hey, Miss Tina, how are you? God bless you, Antonia. I always say a prayer for you and your family. Thank you, Mr. Colbina. Have you received your package? I think we just sent it. Okay, I think tomorrow. You should receive it tomorrow. Should we just send it 2 days ago, right? You should receive it tomorrow. Let me know how the babies, my babies united. I mean the young lady and her siblings. That is good to know. Let me know, Mr. Corbin, when you receive it. And I know you would send me an email. Hello, Miss Giwa. How are you? Okay, yes, I think I remember that. So just keep me posted. Okay. All right, let's go. Please do not repeat your questions. That will be very, very helpful. Okay, and I just said don't repeat questions. So excellent 4-7. I would have read your question, but you repeated it, so we're just going to skip it. Okay. Or you repeated like 4 times. The more reason. I have an asylum case and a pending marriage application. Can I use my advance parole to go to neighboring countries? I can't tell you whether to travel or not, but general information, apart from unlawful presence, if you have no other inadmissibility issues, generally one should be able to travel. Number 1. Number 2, however, is if you've got a pending asylum case, yes, you may be talking about going to neighboring countries, but be aware that if for whatever reason, USCIS believes that the asylum application was a frivolous application, that's going to have an impact on any other immigration benefit that you're seeking. Just an FYI. Okay. How long can I expect to wait for an answer for my 765 expedited request? They usually say 30 days. If after 30 days you haven't heard from them, just send them a follow-up, or depending on the type of case, if your attorney is the one doing it for you, then you can reach out to the attorney to follow up on that. Can green card parents file citizenship for their child, 6 years kid who also has a green card? If the child qualifies on their own before the parent qualifies for citizenship, yes. But if the child does not qualify, in the sense that the child got a green card at the same time with the parents, how are you going to find? I'm not really sure I'm following that question. The only thing that makes sense is if the child got a green card before the parents did, but how would that have happened? I mean, depending on what the child filed for. Miss Esmeralda on TikTok says, I got my vow approved yesterday after 3 years. Congratulations, Miss Esmeralda. This is one of the reasons why I love this. Just being able to share, because y'all don't even know. Unless you have been, and a lot of us have, or other people here are married to immigrants in the journey and trials. Unless you have actually walked this journey of the unknown, and counting days and months and waiting to receive that green card in your hands. I can never forget back then in 2009, going to the mailbox, just thinking every other day, pick up mail and to pick up my green card. I was literally shaking. And you say, okay, when it was, my neighbor was like, is everything? I mean, what lady? She's passed now, God rest her. So what could she understand? Because it's like she thought I was like, no. But to know that is to know how you can celebrate with Miss Esmeralda. So we rejoice with you, Miss Esmeralda. Congratulations. We're believing and trusting God that the rest of the journey will be completed just the way He has started this. He will complete that which He has started. Okay, let's see. All right, Basican question. You're welcome. My wife and I are green card holders. Can we file citizenship for our kids, 6 and 12 years old, who are also here on green card? If the kids have already been green card holders for 5 years, yes. If they haven't been green card holders for 5 years, there's no basis for them to apply for citizenship. I won my asylum June 11, 2024. Congratulations, Mr. Philip. Can I apply for I-485 or should I wait after 1 year to apply? So if you just were granted a asylum status last month, just a little over a month now, the law requires that by the time USCIS adjudicates your I-485 application, you have been physically present in the United States for a year after you were granted the asylum status. So, case in point, Miss J and my client and her daughters, we filed their asylum-based green card applications in December of last year. Their cases were approved over the weekend, on Saturday, I think, to be precise. So, give or take, that's about a little over 6 months. USCIS could only have approved their cases. One of the reasons being that they have been in asylum status at least a year after being granted asylum status. So, Mr. Philip, if you base on that calc, so that the requirement is no longer that you have to wait a year before you file. The requirement is that by the time USCIS decides on your green card application, you must have been in asylum status for at least a year. So if you're going to calculate that the best, and based on the case, my most recent asylum case, then the best route to go, suggestion, not telling this what you need to do, will probably be to wait 6 months, and give or take, it probably take them about 6 months. So because if you're not in asylum status for at least a year, by the time they want to make a decision, they're going to deny it and you have to start all over again. Okay. Let's see. Thank you so much for answering my questions months ago, because it helped me. My husband is here. That's it. Say no more. Here you go. That's, so for those who say, Sister Lunch, I might offer a free consultation. Here is a free consultation. As you can hear, it is humbling. It is gratifying, but I think it's quite a bit of information that we share twice a week. And so, Gifty, Thank you. I'm glad that your husband is finally here in the United States. Can you recommend a good doctor that can help with immigration matters in New York? What immigration matters? What do you mean a medical doctor? You mean a psychologist? What? Can USCIS approve green card in removal proceedings if I'm an arriving Indian? USCIS does not approve green card in removal proceedings. Generally an arriving alien can file their green card application with USCIS and have it adjudicated because they have jurisdiction to adjudicate I-45 applications for arriving aliens. So once that's done, you can go back to court and now ask the court to terminate proceedings. Okay, that's exactly what I was talking about. Vawa approved, but I-45 denied because I didn't receive the more. You mean the request for evidence notice delay. So what's your question? Any advice for couple filing for marriage green card after recent marriage? Do yourself a huge favor and work with a lawyer. That's the advice. Jump some questions. Ooh. Okay. My mom cannot read or write. She has a green card. How can she be a citizen? Have your mom examined by a physician and see if there will be any basis for them to complete an N648 form that would help to make her exempt from the English language and civics test. So that's what you can do, or that's what you can't do. But there are some exemptions depending on how long you've been a green card holder for and your age. But there's besides the N648, that's the only total exemption with that. What's with the Biden stuff? Can we start filing? There's nothing you're filing until August 19, and that's only for those who qualify. Shara, so what's your question though? Hello, Miss Mackie. How are you? That's okay. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓, thank you. Okay. I already filed I-130 for my children, and it's delayed. It's not delayed. It's just being processed. It's just being processed. Can I still apply? Can I still apply for a tourist visa? They can try. Whether or not they're going to get it is another question. Yeah. Miss Mackie, Baton is it Baton or Battle 1, 2, 3, 4? Repeated the question. That's why I skipped it. Anything about how long it's going to take to get something? That's another question I can answer. How's TJ? We haven't seen him in a while because he's with his father. TJ is with his dad. Can you hear that? Silence. Quiet. TJ is with his dad. So, but we were together last week in Boston. Voila. I'm telling you. TJ Bobo. My baby is going to start high school next month. Cannot believe it. Starting high school. Where did the time go? Oh, thank God. Okay. Adewale from Nigeria. So, well, you can imagine that I have so many clients go by Adewale, and I don't want you to put your last name. So, yeah, but okay. I have followed you for many years. Cousin of mine, cousin, let's go cousin. Okay, we'll move from sister to friend to brother to cousin. Okay, cousin of mine is separated. His wife cheated on him. Do you have Spanish translator in the office? We do not. But you can always come with, well, I hardly do in office, even if you are in Alabama. You've got to, there's got to be a reason for you want to come to the office. Since COVID, I just haven't, because, that's just what it is. But for I have clients who only speak French or Creole or whatever the case may be, and they come with their own translator. So that's something you can do, but it's done over Zoom. Can I send a message to your inbox? You can send a message to our inbox on on Instagram. My assistant will respond to you. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing a diaper change. I don't even know how to even change diapers anymore. I'm sure I remember, but I'm not interested. Not interested. No worries, Miss Ben. I'm just seeing your message. No need to be sorry at all. She's Miss Ben is out. Miss Ben, who I didn't forget. I just omitted. Is on YouTube. Um, one of my girls on YouTube. So, but thank you. Thank you, Fanny Shan. It's been a long week, but we thank God. Congratulations to green card recipients. Yes. Nothing like that feeling. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanction. No. This is the best migration in town. No cap. And she, Mr. Kelvin. Thank you. Hello, Anthony Senate. How are you? On what ground should a divorce based on vow be filed? Irreconcilable differences or based on abuse. That's not a question. That's not an immigration question. That is a family law question. There's no requirement that your divorce grounds has to match an abuse, because state law controls divorce grounds, not immigration. So the grounds for divorce are irrelevant to whether or not you can file for vow. They may be helpful in proving a requirement of vow, but that's not an immigration related question. Timilola loves Niger jollof rice. Well, you don't have a choice. I mean, what do you really think? What you guys have in Ghana is jollof rice? Like, I said it. I said it. About the Biden 10 years green card plan, if me and my spouse are separated but not yet divorced, can I still qualify for the program having been in the state for 10 years? Hun underscore Bovey. Okay, I don't want to laugh, but when you say you've been separated, you've been in the state for 10 years, how did you come into the country? How did you come into the country? Hi, Miss O. That first. Are you calling Miss O? That's someone that either already knows me or is my client. Not too many people call Miss O. I think there is Miss. So Miss Chisholm, I think so. Thank you always for your detailed information. You're welcome. Miss Peggy says, I'm late to 𝒊𝒎𝒂𝒏𝒕. You get a lot of people. Y'all are just, I'm going to die. Um, Nollywood. Everyone will have a part to play in Nollywood movie. Live on YouTube now and Instagram. Thank you, Miss Peggy. Hey, Mama. Mama's on. My Mama is on. Hello, Miss Timmy. Talk. How are you? I sent you an email earlier on today. Let's see. Taking the very matchmaking service. I'm sure something like auntie, she matchmaker, you know. So what is okay so? So what else? Can I apply for a passport for my son while N600 is pending? You can. You actually don't need the certificate of citizenship for passport. But the problem a lot of people run into is those in the passport office who just, most of them do not even know that that's the law. It will tell you proof of citizenship. And if you don't give them proof of citizenship, especially if you go to the post office, or courthouse, just you're better off just waiting to get the N600. So that's what I would just suggest, just to save yourself the headache. TJ's the spice of the house. I bet you miss him. Um, I miss. Yes, I miss. Listen, they're my kids. I had them. Like carried them 10 months in my body. Like I plead the fifth. Let's leave that alone. Um, let's leave that alone. Can I file for my sister after she gets here on a J1 visa? You can file for your sister an I-130, but that's not going to help her stay in the country because you filing an I-130 does nothing for her. It's just going to buy her, quote unquote, a priority date. And she's going to wait another 15 to 17 years before she can apply for anything to get a green card. And that means that if she comes in on a J1 visa for the next 15 to 17 years, she has to maintain a non-immigrant status. Yeah, Han Bovi. That's I was looking at it and I thought, okay, we're going to um see what you but and then you said she's yet to answer the question. That's why I'm repeating it. But I always say when I start that we do questions at the end. So since you've decided to repeat your question so many times, and I was going to answer it, but I saw you repeated your question so many times. Too bad. It's a very simple instruction. Don't repeat questions. That's all. What date is application for PI Parole in place? August 19 for those who qualify. Do you think order 𝒎𝐸 is enough to start my migration process? I assume you're Nigerian, and I assume you're talking about decree 𝒎𝐸. Decree 𝒎𝐸 is not, decree 𝒎𝐸 and absolute go hand in hand when it comes to what USCIS will accept. I mean, decree 𝒎𝐸, you can remarry after decree 𝒎𝐸 has been issued, but with USCIS, unless you're able to educate them, but there's no rush. Your absolute has to be issued in 3 months after that. So why the rush? So sis, if you're gonna matchmake, I tell what. Okay, let's start a roster or something. Um, I want I-45 and I-130 after interview. I-130 approved and I-45 is still pending. What is next step for them to? Next step is waiting to get the approval of the I-45. I'm telling you, y'all, I'm going to start it because I'm seeing some things, matchmaking service. I'm going to start. And it says, like, Jane got any boyfriend? No, do you really think? Like, I'm not even sure. What on did that? My mom would tell you, like, oh yeah, what did they go? I'm sure my mother sometimes she probably prays to God, like, you are dressed and take back for girl you. It's an Olale law firm wedding loading. I'm telling you that was, if I even have my clients or the clients and one of our social media space followers have finally get married, I have to get ordained as a minister because who else should be doing that ceremony, right? It has to be me. Classic Kimmy, you're welcome. Yes. Okay. All right. So thank you, everybody. Every single day. Do all the cases go through interview? Not all. So VAW petitions don't get interviews. Where interview comes in is if they're going to call you in for your I-45 interview, and it would depend on if you've got a lot of quite a number of factors. Do you have anything in your record that's going to make you inadmissible? Did you have a previous case where they want to compare information, or did you submit a document in your previous case that's now becoming an issue in the second case? There's a whole lot that goes into that, but not all VAR cases, VAR related for I-485, will be scheduled for an interview. My 2-year work permit will be expired in October, and I still haven't heard anything about my case. What is my next step? I don't know anything about your case. How do I know what your next step is? After divorce, spouse-based application. Hi there. After divorce, spouse-based application approved, but before green card issued, we got divorced, and wife came and got green card. She didn't inform to USCIS what's going to happen her green card. If you were already divorced before, it could go 2 ways, and I think it's going to be we also have a baby after she gets a year, so she loses green card even if she has a citizen kid. Sam, you guys, I mean, if you're already divorced, but it sounds like you're still in you have a cordial relationship, then you guys need to sit down with a lawyer, because the argument can be made that the I-130 itself, having been approved before the divorce occurred, you may make an argument that the I-485 should not, because the USCIS would have discretion to do that. But if you did not use a lawyer, then let's see what's going on here. Okay. If you didn't use your lawyer in your case, you want to sit down with one and just, because this is not a yes or no, or no, she's going to lose the green card, or was issued in error. You've got to make an analysis and know whether or not there's case laws to back up her being able to keep the green card, or if the fact that the divorce happened before the 485 was approved nullifies the qualifying relationship. So sit down with a lawyer and discuss your case. That's the best thing you need to do. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Let's see. U.S. citizen here, married in Zambia, cannot bring my new spouse back easily. I wish things were that easy with U.S. immigration, but you never know. God can make yours go pretty fast, but you have to still go through the process. Start with USCIS, file I-130. Once that's approved, they send the case to the embassy. Your spouse applies for the immigrant visa. You submit all your stuff, get documentary qualified, and they wait for an interview. Hopefully that goes less than 2 years, but usually be ready to wait for about 2 years. But anyway, you're doing a great job. Keep shining in the Lord Jesus Christ moments. Thank you. Like what me. It is because of him that we are. Without him, we're absolutely nothing. Nothing. From dust we came, from dust we shall return. He spoke us and breathed us into existence. Oh, my mama said, thank you for all you do, Sister Lloyd. I should say thank you for giving me a law degree. Let's not get mushy mushy. That's my mama. Oh, sister, thank you for all you do, Sister Lloyd. Because you know I don't sleep. But I should thank my mama for giving me a law degree and paying the way for me to get a law degree. Because without that I would not be sitting here. Without God and without that I would not be sitting here. My mother made a lot of sacrifices for her children. So we thank God that now she is reaping the fruits of her labor. And I pray that as mothers we would all be able to reap the fruits of our labor in Jesus. That we will not labor over our children in vain. I do that to Junior. May we never labor over our children in vain. And we sow into our parents, may our children also sow into us. And at the end of the day, we're all doing this primarily for our kids. If someone had told me, for someone who grew up on the island, I'm a 1004 girls me, and lived in Massachusetts, lived in Chicago, someone told me that I would end up in small town USA because of visa. I was like, no, Mark Paris, not just before that. But then you've got kids. You have kids, and then you look at it like they're American born citizens. You want to do what you can to raise them in a country that they're born in. And if they choose to know about their roots and go back home, they have, by birthright, they have their right to go back to Nigeria. But that was the motivating factor for their dad and I for their dad and me. If that meant we had to come to an underserved, medically underserved area to get visas and spend years and almost drive myself crazy. But at the end of the day, I sit here and I travel and I look at the blue passport and I thank God for the sacrifices. The same thing my mother did for my siblings and I. And I pray that for each and every one of us, just waiting on God for us to have that stability so that our children's lives can be better. At the end of the day, that's primarily what we're doing it for. Many of us have kids who are citizens, and the thought of not being able to raise them here and have returning to your home country kind of like keep you awake most nights. We thank God for where we're from. It's where we're from, but unfortunately, a lot of us are from countries where life is just not as easy as it is here. And I use the word easy not loosely, but our biggest prayer is that in all that we do, just as we have parents who sacrifice for us, and literally, I would not be sitting here but for the sacrifices that my parents, my dad, we were talking when I was in Massachusetts over the weekend. My dad, God rest his soul. Even including my mom, we said like, hey, we would not even come to the United States but for my dad who took the initiative. But I know that a lot has gone into the sacrifice. A lot of sacrifice has gone into me being here because of the parents that I had, because of my mother, and being able to do the same for my children, and also sacrifice and be part of your life so that your own stability can also be established and your children would have their own stability here. And at the end of the day, God granting us the grace to keep going, the strength to never give up, and knowing and believing that all of this that we do, that it would not be in vain, and our labor shall not, we speak it into existence, that our labor shall not be in vain. All right, people, thank you every time for joining. I will see you guys on Tuesday, God willing. Have a good weekend. Bye, everybody.